Hey, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of the Courtship Code, brought to you by Black Muslim Single Society and hosted by me, Zara J. Thank you guys so much for your patience and understanding. I know it's been a rough start with the Courtship Code in 2019. We have taken lots of breaks on it, and I apologize for that. Definitely apologize for my absence. Just been a lot going on in 2019, both good and bad. So just thank you for your patience. Thank you guys for being a part of this. I get so many compliments on the podcast, and for those of you who have benefited from listening to it, especially got a lot of good responses on that last episode for the Masculinity podcast. So thank you guys, from men. A lot of good responses from men on that. So thank you. I was a little nervous presenting that information because sometimes men can be like, well, what is a woman doing and telling us what to do, pointing out masculine. But I'm so glad that I have such a mature and intelligent audience, and mature and intelligent men who are very open and receptive to things pertaining to relationships and courtship and just the Muslim experience and perspective. So thank you guys for the positive feedback. As always, make sure that you are liking, sharing, emailing, talking about our content so we can continue to grow and spread the word. We really need you guys to make sure that you are active participants in this journey as we grow our tribe of those who want to see community grow, who wants to see positive courtships, positive experiences, whether that's while being singled or married or just somewhere in between that process in the Muslim community. Just continue to spread the word, share the podcast, share the blogs, on social media, comment, whether it's on our YouTube channel or if it's on a social media post, email us, let us know your thoughts. Just doing that, it increases the support so much. Make sure if you're listening on the Anchor app that you hit that star button so that you can get notifications for when new episodes post. If you're listening on our YouTube channel, make sure that you give us a thumbs up, comment, and also subscribe to that channel so we can grow our YouTube presence. And if you're following us on any social media, as I said, make sure that you share, like, comment, just engage with us. We want to hear from you. So thank you guys. Right now we're doing something really special and gearing up for something really special during the Ramadan season. So make sure you guys are also subscribed to our email list. If you're not subscribed to our email list, just head over to blackmuslimsinglesociety.com and just subscribe to email list. Please do not go on Instagram or Facebook and go to the business pages and send a message or email saying, please add me to the mailing list. It's not going to happen. Go to blackmuslimsinglesociety.com and enter your email address smack right as soon as you get to the homepage, and make sure that you are subscribed because we are doing a special giveaway during the month of Ramadan. It's our way to give back to the community, and we want to see you guys, benefit from the information. So make sure you're subscribed. And if you haven't already put in your profile into the Match Network, make sure we have your profile. By having your profile, it does allow us to be able to look at your profile, weigh it against others, see if you're a good match for anyone that we're currently matching for. Please keep in mind that a profile listing membership is not a matchmaking membership. Those are two different things, but we do have options for everybody. So go to the website. There are actually some new options available. If you go to our website and look at how we can benefit you, we just want to be a service to you. We want to be able to be a benefit to you guys. So thank you as always for helping us grow our Match Network. So that was a really long intro and unplanned intro. So sorry for that, taking a little bit longer than usual. But guys, what are we talking about this week? So on this episode of the Courtship Code, we are getting into some femininity basics. Now, the last episode, we broke down the masculinity basics. If you haven't listened to that, make sure that you go listen to that on Apple or Spotify or Anchor or YouTube, or just go to our website and you can find the link to that. But we broke down the masculinity basics. So now it's focused on the women, right? So we're going to talk about femininity basics, just some basic things. And it's amazing that this isn't something that is talked about as much And whether it's the Muslim community or the Black community, I know everyone that listens to us isn't Black. Everyone that listens to us, they're not Muslim. So, y'all going to probably fit in one of those two categories. But we don't really talk about masculine and femininity very much, and how that shows up in relationships and how that shows up in courtships or just in your everyday life, even when you're not courting anyone, you're just single and available or unmarried and looking. I like the word unmarried better than single, because, you're single, you're thinking in a singular type of way, versus when you are unmarried, you're just in a state of transitioning and preparing for marriage. But, just femininity and what that looks like. And it's not all about the makeup and the clothing and the hair and all those really shallow surface things. It runs so much deeper. And because of the social climate that we're in, because of the fast-paced society that we are in the West, and just because of the way we've been conditioned as human beings, I'm not even just going to say women or women of color or anything like that, but just human beings, just women, period, especially in this part of the world, being fully in touch with your femininity is a challenge. And one thing that I always say is that as a Black woman, whatever that is, whatever ethnicity you come from. But oftentimes, particularly in America, I'm speaking from the American Muslim perspective and the American woman's perspective. But as a Black woman in America, honestly, being feminine is a privilege. It's something that I truly believe that. I say it all the time. Being able to be feminine as a Black woman is a privilege, because there's so many barriers and so many things trying to stop you from being fully in your feminine role. It's something that you probably aren't even aware that you're being blocked. It's a block or these blocks. Sorry, I'm kind of stumbling with my words right now. But you might not even be fully aware that these blocks are happening in your life. Right? Whether it's family structure, relationships, work structure, just different things going on that takes you away from your authenticity, and it takes you away from that centering and you being fully connected to your femininity in its purest form and in its purest nature. Now, the great thing is that you can actually do something about that. You can turn that around. You can get deeper in touch with it. You can learn how to tune out things that don't support your femininity. But it's going to take some work. It's going to take some awareness, and it's going to definitely take focus and change. I mean, you're going to have to learn new behaviors and unlearn other behaviors. But what's on the other side of that rainbow is something really, really beautiful that's going to bring more peace within yourself. Now, this is a lot of the information I'm going to share with you today. If you are a matchmaking member, you probably have heard some of these things. We go a little bit deeper into detail in the matchmaking coaching session. But this is one of my favorite things to talk about with matchmaking. We really dig and dive into this with the third coaching session with our matchmaking members, particularly with our women. And it's one of my favorite topics ever, just masculine and femininity. It's just something that I'm very passionate about, particularly with women of color and Muslim women, and us really learning to embrace that and to become more connected with it. And I just hope that you guys benefit from this episode. I'm sorry, I've been rambling on for quite some time. So let's go ahead and get into it. When we're talking about some basics when it comes to femininity and some key things to look for, on this podcast, we're going to break it down into 4 different topics. Now, there are lots of other things to look for or to identify with when it comes to femininity, but just for time's sake, we're just going to talk about 4 things today. So those 4 things including being nurturing, emotionally connected, sensual, and knowing how to be still. Now, for the men that are listening to this podcast, these are things that you can look for in a woman to see, Does she embody feminine characteristics? And for a woman, these are things that you can reflect on within yourself. Now, what's really interesting with matchmaking, there have been plenty of times where we're interviewing a man, and in his 30-minute interview, he makes a comment that he wants a woman that's feminine, or he's attracted to a woman that's feminine. And knowing what a man means by that is really important, because that can mean a lot of different things. Some men interpret a woman being feminine as a woman who just doesn't give them any problems, a woman who's extremely submissive, not like normally rationally submissive, but a woman's just extremely submissive. Maybe he has some control issues. And then there are men who, when they say they want a woman that's feminine, they're talking more of these characteristics and some of the things we're going to touch on today. And like I said, there are lots of other things. I would love to dive deeper into it with you guys. So you can either comment on a video, comment on a link, or, a social media page. Let us know your thoughts on this if you want to continue getting deeper into this topic. But these are the 4 things we're going to talk about today. So like I said, you can look for these things in a partner, look for these things within yourself. So one of those things, or the first thing that we're going to talk about, is the nurturing aspect. Is a woman nurturing? Now, we all know what that means to be nurturing, as far as to be able to just care for something or someone other than herself, right? Does she show concern? Is she charitable, right? Can she just give love from a really pure place? Is she supportive? One aspect of being nurturing is also being affirming, right? Being supportive, and not supportive in a mothering type of way, where that woman feels the need to dictate or to control or to push a man in a direction that she thinks is best for him. That's actually more masculine, and operating more in the masculine energy. But being supportive of the direction that he wants to go in, being supportive of his goals, being affirming, being able to nurture and emotionally support his needs, really important. And sometimes women may think that they're being nurturing. Like, I always tell him, that he's doing a good job, or I always try to, push him to challenge himself more. But like I said, if you're being pushy or being controlling, and trying to navigate the direction that he moves in, you're really not nurturing his path. You're not really nurturing his goal. So you want to make sure that you are nurturing. And that's not saying just fall for any old foolishness. Of course, we would never support that. But inshallah, whoever it is that you choose, whether it's to court or to marry, or just whatever men you have in your life, or women too. I mean, these things are universal. A feminine woman, a nurturing woman, is going to be that across the board, not just with men, but also with women, with children, with elderly, with whoever. They're going to understand the importance of nurturing relationships, nurturing their home, right? She's going to give love to her home, give love to the things that she enjoys. Everything's not so rushed. Everything's not so agenda-based. Things are really from a place of adding value. So when you are looking at a woman, you want to look, is she making an effort to add value? Not just for her to inject herself in your life, but also, is she adding value? Is she representing her value well? And ladies, are you representing your value well? Are you nourishing the relationship? Are you cultivating a relationship? Are you nourishing that man? What way are you nurturing the emotions? When you're married, the physical, just all of that, just really nurturing and giving that love and that support from a very genuine place. So the next thing that we want to look for when it comes to femininity is being emotionally connected. Now, a lot of people assume that women are always emotionally connected. And I think by nature, women are far more emotionally connected than many men, especially men that are really operating in their masculine state. They're going to feel, without a doubt, they definitely feel the emotions, because as we said in other podcasts, the masculine and the feminine exist in all creations, right? But Men are usually not as susceptible to their emotions. They can usually balance it out with more logic. Now, that's not saying a woman who's a little bit more logical is not emotionally connected, but is she able to express those emotions? Does she allow herself to be vulnerable? Do you, ladies, allow yourself to be vulnerable? Allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to completely just let go and live in the moment. When you talk, when you interact, when you engage, is it from a place of feeling? Is it from a place where you are connecting with your senses, connecting with the world around you, really taking in your environment, the sights, the scents, how things make you feel, being able to express that and communicate those sensory things in a way that is able to bring that man closer to you? Are you giving him a glimpse into your world and from the way that you perceive things? That's a very feminine quality and trait to be able to embody. If you ever look at any figures in history or even in movies and you see things like women who are very enchanting, very feminine, very delicate, they're very feeling oriented. They're very much connected to the world around them. They understand their senses. They understand their feelings inside, and being able to embrace those emotions and not shut them off. There's always this trend. You see this on the internet. Social media is very big on promoting. It's like, I'm cold. I don't have any feelings. At this point, I'll cut somebody off this quickly. Those things are all extremely emotionally immature, right? Emotionally immature, because as a woman and as a feminine woman, you should be able to communicate those emotions and those feelings. You should be able to connect with others on an emotional level and understand the value of that emotional connectedness. And when you feel like, I'm just at a point where I don't feel anything anymore, I'm cold-hearted, I'm cold, I'll cut somebody off, that's really just a way for you to protect yourself in a defense mechanism. And it was interesting in a coaching session with a matchmaking member. There was a discussion, about not having time to feel. And this was something that really saddened me to hear, because I know that mindset is something that's extremely common in women, but particularly, say, Black women or, women of color, is this idea of keep trucking, keep moving on, don't have time to be sad, don't have time to be upset, don't have time to be disappointed, don't have time because you're focused on survival mode. And this is a pattern of taking on masculine energy and disconnecting from emotions in order to push through life. And it's an unfortunate situation that many women have been put in that predicament, where they feel as though that is the only alternative that they have in order to survive, in order to accomplish things, in order to move forward, because they have been subjected to hurt or pain or disappointment. And they convince themselves, or they learn. It can be a learned behavior as well. You can learn this from maybe your mother, other women that you're around, whether it's friends or family, whoever, that the key is to just keep pushing until you break. And all of those women, I'm sure, who have that type of mindset have all gone through emotional breakdowns and really hard times emotionally. And everyone goes through hard times and breakdowns. So it's not, exclusive to women who think like this. But it's this mindset of not feeling, not being connected, and this superwoman mentality that's just unrealistic, and it's not fair. It's not fair. And as I've said earlier in the podcast, that for women of color, for Black women specifically, being feminine can be viewed as a privilege. So that correlates directly with emotional connectedness, is this privilege of being connected to your emotions. When you tell yourself that you don't have time to feel whatever that emotion is so that you can keep pushing, that's basically saying that connecting with those emotions and feeling and looking and examining those feelings, it's a privilege that you can't afford to have, or a privilege that you don't have. So if you're listening to this and you do tend to lean more towards the ideology, I want you to really focus on taking more time to yourself, spending more time really examining the root of your emotions, really diving deep and being willing to connect with those emotions, express those emotions, whether they are good or bad. But being more feeling oriented is going to help you to make better connections with all the relationships that you have in your life. And it's going to increase your ability to communicate with others as well. But you want to be able to really nurture those emotions, as we spoke about in part 1, is nurture those emotions and nurture relationships. And you do that by sharing emotions. You know, when it comes to men, because they're not as emotionally reactive as a man who's in his masculine energy, I'll say, isn't as emotionally reactive. They come to us for that comfort. They come to us for that emotional connectedness, to really experience the world through our eyes and through our senses. So when you deny that part of yourself, you're denying a part of a connection that could be really valuable between you and that man. So it's important to learn, and it's something that you're going to have to learn. It might not come naturally. Maybe at one point it did, but over time it tends to go dry and go dull because we're operating in an energy in society that pushes women to be more masculine. So connecting more with your emotions, becoming more vulnerable, paying more attention to your senses, learning how to communicate that is going to be extremely beneficial. And if you want to discuss this more, of course, you can always shoot us an email at contact@blackmuslimsinglesociety.com and let us know if you want a coaching session or you want a moment to just, dig deeper into this. I would love to speak with you about that, ladies. The next thing is sensuality. Being sensual. Sensuality is all about movement and fragrance and just everything that has to do with the senses. And when things are more sexual, it's more agenda-based, it's more masculine, and it's not as soft and just sensory, as enticing as it could be. So as a woman, when you are a very sensual being in how you walk and how you talk, in your facial expressions, in that beautiful smile that you possess, in the way that you carry yourself as a woman, right? Your dress, your style, all these things are playing into the senses, right? How you connect with people from a sensual place. So leading with sensuality, and I'm not saying being overly seductive or anything like that. And this can be geared more towards marriage. It doesn't have to be just in courtship. But understanding, again, how to be emotionally connected and then communicating that through your sensuality. Simply being mindful of the tone that you take when engaging with the man. Being mindful of how you approach a situation, about how you love, about how you nurture, about the things you say, about movement. It's all connected to sensuality. One way for women to stay in touch with their sensuality, especially Muslim women, because sexuality is really suppressed and sensuality is suppressed oftentimes for unmarried women. Even some married women feel very suppressed in that. Doing certain things like just going for walks, dancing, taking a fitness class like a Zumba or some type of dance class or something that requires movement, yoga. All these things are ways to increase and to keep connected with your sensuality. And these are great things to do when you're not married, because all that movement, the sway of the hips, the way that you walk, the way that you move your body, the stretching, the strutting, all of those things are going to help to recharge your feminine energy and to help you to feel very sensual, very beautiful, very seductive. Whenever you do a workout, it could be running on a treadmill, but whenever you work out, you always feel like just very beautiful afterwards. You feel amazing, right? Because you've released that energy. You've been able to recharge your feminine energy, release some of the masculine and recharge the feminine, right? And the movement is what's considered the flow of feminine energy. It's like water, just the sway of it, the dancing. You think of belly dancers, you think of all the exotic dancing, whether it's African dancing or any type of movement. It's very beautiful for you to watch. It's very seductive. It's very sensual. That is so feminine and it's so beautiful, and men love it. Men love it. So you might not want to go to an extreme with it while you're walking down the street in your hijab, but for sure, how you engage and how you interact with the opposite sex through your senses definitely will help to increase your feminine energy and to help you stay connected to it. And it's very vibrant, very radiant, and something to fully embrace as a feminine woman. So for fellas, pay attention. Does this woman have any sensuality about her? Is she a sensual woman? These are all things that you can pay attention to and that you can identify in courtship to identify, is this woman in fact a feminine woman? Is she feminine charged? The last thing I want to share with you guys today is knowing how to be still. Understanding how to be still. It's always really interesting in a coaching session when we really dive deep into femininity and that crash course coaching session when we talk about being still. Now, being still is simply learning how to do nothing. And it sounds really simple. It sounds like, what? How is that feminine? But knowing how to do nothing. When you're in your masculine energy, you're always on a do, go, plan, strategize, make things happen. That's good when you're in the workplace. It's good when you have to accomplish something. But you also have to learn how to turn it off and just learn to just relax. Enjoy allowing others to do for you. Enjoy allowing how to not be in control and how to let go. Enjoying just the stillness of the day or the stillness of the night. Being comfortable with just rest. And being in that state, not always feel like you have to mobilize or push something forward. Not always having to plan and strategize and figure things out and always be on a mission to achieve or to accomplish or to do, but learning how to just fully enjoy the moment. Just enjoy it. Take in everything that is around you, everything that you're being blessed with and given, and not try to focus so much into the future, and certainly not focus deeply into the past. So these are 4 things that can help you to stay connected to your feminine energy. There's some basics to identify in a feminine woman. If you need help with these things, again, shoot us an email at contact@blackmuslimsinglesociety.com, or you can go to the website, shoot us a message. You could always Instagram us, Facebook us, comment. Make sure that you guys comment, like, subscribe, share. And let us know your thoughts on this podcast. Make sure that you also send this to some of your friends. And if you want us to get deeper into this subject, please let us know, because this is certainly something I'm very passionate about and that I think is really beneficial to women of color to be able to be more conscious about their femininity and how to embrace it. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week this week. And assalamu alaikum.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.